to the Rails Board meeting. This is Friday, August 22nd, 2025, and I'm Gwen Gregory, President of the Rails Board. And I call this meeting to order at 1 p.m. Stacy, will you please call roll?
Monica Caldecott.
Here.
Jean Carroll.
Here.
Jennifer Cutchell.
Here.
Megan Gove. Gwen Gregory.
Here.
Ron Holohan.
Here.
Jennifer Habeneck. Amanda Kowalski.
Here.
Rob Parks.
Here.
Emily Porter. She has just logged on. It's just gonna take a moment. Carolyn Sennett. Here. Alex Fancina. Karen Wojtek.
Here.
Yolanda Wilburn.
Here.
And Catherine Anakowski.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. We will handle guests and public comments at the same time. Let's start with guests in Burr Ridge.
Monica Harris, Rails.
Sharon Swanson, Rails.
Layla Heath Rails.
Brian Smith Rails.
Jessica Seabob Rails.
Ann Slaughter Rails.
Dan Boston Rails.
Ola Gronsky Rails.
Joe Philippek Rails.
Stacy Palmisano Rails.
And Carolyn Kinsella Isle.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments in Burr Ridge? Are there any guests or public comments at Rockford University? I understand there was a problem with that participation.
That's correct. They have a power outage, so Emily is finding another location with
Yeah.
Megan.
Right.
And they have joined, it looks like.
Hello. I'm gonna make this look better. Just give me a minute.
So Stacy, will you read the names of the guests via Zoom?
Yes, Karen Egan, Nikki Zimmerman, Ryan Hebel, and Sam Daly.
Thank you. Are there any public comments from any Zoom participants? Stacy, did you receive any public comments via email?
I did not receive any public comments.
A. Moving on to the consent agenda. Anyone wish to move any item to the regular agenda for further discussion? All right, may I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
We approve the consent agenda. Caldecott. Second, Karen.
Thank you. Stacy, will you please call the roll?
Monica Caldecott,
Yes.
Jean Carroll.
Yes.
Jennifer Cutchell,
Yes.
Megan Gove.
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
Gwen Gregory,
Yes.
Ron Holohan,
Yes.
Amanda Kowalski,
Yes.
Rob Parks,
Yes.
Emily Porter,
Yes.
Carolyn Sennett,
Yes.
Karen Wojtek,
Yes.
Yolanda Wilburn,
Yes.
Catherine Anakowski.
Yes.
Thank you. Next up is Sharon with the Rails financial report.
Thank you, Gwen, and good afternoon, everyone. You'll find the July board financials in your packet. So I'll start off with the July 31st general fund cash and investment balance was approximately $24.3 million. This would fund approximately 20.7 months of budgeted fiscal year 2026 operations. General fund revenues through July were a little over 1.7 million, and these were $68,605 above budget. And this is primarily due to greater than anticipated participation in that EBSCO group purchase. These are those databases that we negotiate pricing for that both supplement and enhance the state's database package. And that's great news that we had more participation than we anticipated. It's grown since the prior year. Interest income was also very high compared with the average budgeted interest rates of 3.5%. We budgeted 3.5% overall for fiscal year 2026 because of anticipated cuts that will happen from the Federal Reserve during the course of this fiscal year. So since the Federal Reserve's December meeting, interest rates have remained between the 4.25% and 4.5%. But as indicated today at the Federal Reserve's meeting in Jackson Hole with Chairman Powell's speech, they might be more certainly looking at an interest rate cut at their September meeting. So It's possible, but he did couch that in terms of it's going to be dependent on the effects of tariffs, the CPI index, and the jobs report. So I did want to also mention Rails disposed of 2 older vehicles in July. This resulted in a gain to us of $6,925. These were 2 vehicles that were approved for disposal in fiscal year 2025. So we did also have above budget revenues that were partially offset by the August invoicing of the Find More Illinois membership fees. So last year, these membership fees were billed midway through July. This year, they were billed in August to time these billings closer to when school opened for some of those members. And moving on to expenditures, through July, we had expenditures of just over 2.2 million. These were $44,706 above budget. This was primarily due to above budget library materials from those greater than anticipated participation in the EBSCO group purchase. So for new board members and for the, as a reminder to older board members, that reimbursement revenue line is offset by offset in expenditures and has no effect on our bottom line by that library materials line. So it's just pass through activity between us and our members. We also had above budget buildings and grounds expenditures. This is primarily due to a timing difference. So both our July and August rent payments, because our rent is due before the 1st of every month, were recorded as expenditures in July. And we did have offsetting below budget expenditures, chiefly in personnel. This is just normal hiring delays because we have several open positions in delivery. I believe the last count that I heard from HR was of the delivery, I think we have 6 open positions right now that they're recruiting for, and we have a couple of admin positions at this point too. And we do have several interns that were budgeted for fiscal year 2026 that we have not filled positions for as of yet as well. We also have below budget vehicle expenditures. There's a normal invoicing delay from our fuel card provider. And fuel prices are remaining at $3.01 per gallon for July, and that's well below the $3.14 per gallon that we had budgeted for fiscal year 2026. We also had below budget travel and continuing education expenditures. There were some conferences that were planned but didn't have a definitive date at the time the budget was finalized. And we also have some throughout the year travel that's planned just for library site visits, for travel between our locations that does not have set dates, and we spread that throughout the year evenly. So it's basically due to timing differences. We also have below budget professional services expenditures. This is including consulting, auditing, and legal expenditures. July legal expenditures will be paid in August because there's a little bit of a billing delay from our vendor. We also expect some progress billing from our auditors as the work continues on our annual financial and single audits. That work, the final field work is wrapping up this week from our auditors, so we do expect a bill from them very, very soon. We also had below budget supplies, postage, and printing expenditures. This is mainly due to not knowing when the project to replace our laptops organization-wide is going to be wrapped up. So we split those expenditures evenly throughout the year. It's a $100,000 purchase. And the bidding process just opened for this project. So I did also want to mention in fiscal year 2026, Rails is recording the activity for the L2 development, the World Language Cataloging Grant, and that Cook County Digital Equity Grant that we're getting, that we have gotten in the Special Revenue Fund. And during July, Rails recorded direct salary expenditures related to the World Language Cataloging Grant program. And due to the movement between funds, between the general fund and the Special Revenue Fund, because we recorded this activity in the general fund this last year, the activity is temporarily shown as a negative expense, but this will reverse in August. So on August 8th, I did want to mention Rails received and paid for the second of 2 box trucks that we had purchased to replace the 2 that we had sold back to the dealership. So that activity is now wrapped up, which is a relief. And we did receive already, I think, a vehicle from our other dealership that we deal with too. And we placed orders for others that were budgeted for fiscal year 2026. And I did want to mention, as I mentioned, fieldwork went well this week. But I did want to mention and give the board a little bit of heads up. The auditor informed me that the federal government, specifically the Office of Budget and Management that's under the White House, has not released final guidance for their single audit process. So the auditor said if it goes much longer without them receiving that final guidance, our single audit could be delayed. I have informed both Greg and Karen at the State Library about this. It could potentially this year. It could, because of all the changes at the federal level. So they have to kind of wait and see. So everyone's waiting and seeing right now. So we did have a single audit delay in a prior year. This was during the pandemic when the federal government had all those special grants that went out to people, and the audit firms were a little overwhelmed with the number of single audits that had to be done. So it's not completely outside of the realm of what's happened before, but everyone might be delayed this year. So I want to open up for any questions about anything that I spoke of or anything that I didn't speak of in my report.
All right, well, thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
So moving on to the reports, the president's report. Well, I don't have a formal report, but I would like to welcome Ron Holohan. He was not here last month, but today he took his oath. So now he is officially here as a member of the board. Welcome, Ron. Next on the agenda are the Rails Board Committee reports. Are there any additions or questions on the committee reports included in the packet? All right, moving on to Monica and the Rails report.
Thank you, Gwen. Before we get into the written report, I just have a couple of things that we wanted to share with you all. Some of you may have had the opportunity to see that we posted to the Rails directors list this morning about Public Act 1040056. That is formerly the House bill that is focused on opioid antagonists and libraries. So Ansel Glink, who is the
Antagonist is.
absolutely.
It's a weird term.
It is, I think what they're trying to do is avoid brand names, but what a lot of people know it as is Narcan. And so that it's the idea that if someone is having,
Somebody who's.
yes, yeah, yes. But if someone is to have an overdose from an opioid, this is a medication that can stop the overdose in progress. And so there was, as many of you know, there was some legislation that was passed this year and then signed by the governor on August 1st that essentially says that all libraries or that public libraries open to the public need to have on hand opioid antagonists available. They also need to have as a best practice, staff trained on how to administer those opioid antagonists, and they should attempt to always have someone working that has been trained. There are still a lot of questions about this particular legislation. One piece of the questioning is because it does not apply to all parts of library law. So in particular, the way that this bill was passed, it does not apply to library districts. We think that they are going to amend that so that it will, because it's very clear from the way that they have spoken about this bill that they intend for it to apply to all libraries. So I think it's very important for all of our public libraries to be paying a lot of attention to this bill, but there are some kind of things that people need to be aware of there. And so we did release this memo that Ansel Glink created for us on the directors list today. We will also make this a topic of conversation at our member update that's on September 10th. Julie Tappendorf will join us to talk a little bit about the memo that was created. We will also have Maggie Clemens, who's a deputy commissioner at the Chicago Public Library. Chicago Public has had a successful Narcan distribution program since 2021 in cooperation with the Chicago Department of Public Health. So she's going to talk a little bit about what that looked like there, the rollout, and then kind of how it's been maintained over the last 4 years. And so we expect that there will be some good information there. Rails will also be offering some training in November. And so we'll be having more information coming out about that soon. We are also looking for opportunities to try to connect where libraries can receive opioid antagonists. We're hoping that there will be some in some geographic areas that may be available at reduced cost or maybe even free in cooperation with some public health organizations. But it really varies county by county and, with the geography. So we're going to have to do a little bit of work to put some of that together, but we're going to be working on that as well. And then some of you may have seen in the Illinois Library Association's alert that they released yesterday that DuPage County, or there's a group out of DuPage that's going to do some free training for libraries in September. So I know a lot of our member libraries have a lot of questions about this. And so we just want to make sure that folks are aware that we are working on some solutions. I know a lot of our library partner organizations are also working on more information. And this law goes into effect January 1st. So there's still a little bit of time for folks to figure this out. So I did want to just ask if anyone here had any questions about any of that for now.
So,
Mhm.
so it seems like this legislation only applies to public libraries.
The way that it's written, it's in the Local Library Act, which is a public library piece. There is some language in the legislation that essentially says all libraries open to the public, which is quite different. And so there's a little bit of probably determination that we'll need to figure out. But as we understand it, and as it says in the memo that we released today, it really is applying to public libraries and not district.
Will the training be open to other libraries if they're interested?
The Rails training, I believe, absolutely, right?
In the legislation, is there any protection against liability?
There is. The legislation specifically says that unless they're, and I don't want to misspeak, but it essentially says unless it's willful or malignant on behalf of the library, that the library is protected from liability.
Explain when you say it doesn't apply to the district, but library districts, but it does public libraries that have their own library districts. It doesn't apply to.
So library law is organized by library type in many cases. So what that means is that the Library District Act often has to be included. And so a lot of times when you see a lot of legislation that is for libraries, that you have to see the different laws that reflect both library districts as well as public libraries or local public libraries, village or city libraries, just to make sure that they're all included because they have different laws. So you have to just make sure both laws are included in new legislation. Joe, anything you'd add to that or?
No, only that, and as many of you know, the healthy majority of the libraries within Rails and indeed within Illinois are district libraries. So this kind of excludes, it would seem, 2/3 of the libraries in Illinois. And we don't think that that certainly was the intent of this law. It truly was, I think, intended to be all Illinois public libraries, but there just was not that corresponding modification to the Library District Act that would make it then required for districts.
Not sure. But is Narcan the only brand that does this?
I don't believe so. I don't know if anybody here knows the other names of the generics or other types, but I have heard that Nooxaline or there's another brand certainly.
They have formal certification for this training now, like CPR type training where it's like every 2 years you have to do it, or is it still kind of like just somebody has to generally be aware of how to do this?
I'm not aware of formal training, like a certificate that's available, but I do know that there has been training available through many different agencies, but it's not formalized to my knowledge.
So they don't have like a specific type of, like, check the box, you have this type of certification. That's good. That makes it a little easier anyway to accomplish.
Catherine, I had the training.
Me too, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There wasn't any like card that they gave us or,
No.
yeah, it
And
was,
so simple.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's not even like CPR.
Yeah.
So
I'm just curious how they're gonna track it if there's no real certification.
I think a lot of this isn't developed, it's brand new. And so I know this feels a little squishy, even as we talk about it, it feels like that to me. But what we just want to do is make sure that we're able to relay as many of these resources as we can, and we will continue to update as things get a little more solidified in terms of approach for our libraries before January. A few other things we wanted to make sure that we mentioned. The ethics officer for Rails, we still need a volunteer who is willing to serve as an ethics officer for Rails. So if any of our Rails board members have an interest in serving in that capacity, I'd be happy to talk to you after the meeting about what that might look like. I do want to thank everyone for sharing your committee interests. We have all of our committee chair spots filled. All of our board members are now assigned and serving on committees. So we are actively scheduling those meetings. And if you haven't heard about the next meeting, you will soon. So I want to thank our group for doing that. But again, if you have any interest in serving as the Rails ethics officer and would like to speak to me just after the meeting, I would be happy to talk to you further. I did also just want to bring up one piece about an offsite visit. So as we mentioned last month, we typically like to do a meeting of the board offsite both in the fall and in the spring. Typically, we try to target our fall meeting for September. There is, as we kind of determined exactly after the meeting last week, a bit of a conflict next month for September because it conflicts with Pug Day, which is Prairie Cat's annual day of membership. So we're going to be missing a lot of our own board members that day. I can see some hands raised. And we actually have quite a few staff who are also presenting at that Pug Day. So we don't want to do it in September, which leaves Pug Day is Prairie Cat, which is a consortia's annual day. No, but it is the consortia learning day that they have for that particular consortia.
It stands for the Prairie Cat Users Group.
Thank you, Emily.
It doesn't make sense anymore, but we still use it.
Where did the dogs go?
So no dogs, but they will have that meeting in September, but we want to not schedule our offsite meeting in September for that reason. So that leaves us sort of with two options for the fall. One is October. October can be a challenging month, mostly because there are so many other library conferences that happen during October. So the ILA annual conference happens then, the ISLE conference happens then, Carly's annual meeting is then. And so October may be slightly challenging for many of you as well as us just to continue to get away. November is also an option. That meeting would be, I believe it's November 21st. That is the third week as opposed to the fourth week because of Thanksgiving. So we're a little off schedule in November, but that's an additional option. I think our kind of preferred option would be November, but I did want to bring it to you all in case you had any thoughts on either of those two options.
Where we're going?
We have some ideas, I know, but we need to determine once we have a date with the hosting library where that might be. But one option that we had considered hopeful was Galesburg, which has come up a couple of times since they had their brand new building. But that is a hike from Burr Ridge, in case that is, something to consider. Not a hike for you.
November works for us, Emily and Megan.
Thank you, Megan.
I would prefer November because in October, the library itself has like a spectacular event and I'm on the Friends and the Friends helps out. So there's a lot of other events besides ISLE and all that stuff that, I mean, it's just, you overdo.
Okay.
So November.
So we'll start to look at options for November. We should have a kind of a definitive answer for you all by the September meeting to understand the direction that we're going. And then we'll also begin to look at dates for the spring just to make sure we can get ahead on that. So thank you all for that. I did just want to get a little bit into some of the things that are in the report. I know that you saw some of the federal updates that we shared with you here. Less on IMLS this month, but also just some other updates and other things that affect libraries that are happening federally. We also wanted to note that in this report, it says 3 bills were signed into law by Governor Pritzker this month that we have been tracking. Since this report, there has been a 4th that I will also share with you. So the first, that was House Bill 42. That's the bill that authorizes libraries to bill non-resident fees on a quarterly or biannual basis. So that is something that would allow folks who need to pay in for a non-resident card to have those libraries bill them twice a year, 4 times a year. We have at our last staff meeting actually heard from some staff members who've already heard from libraries that this was a welcome change, that they liked the opportunity to be able to see that, and it was effective immediately. So libraries are already beginning this work. Senate Bill 1550. This was the bill that was introduced by Secretary Janulius, and it allows funds to be made available by the state to improve or enhance the security of libraries. So what that means is when the Illinois State Library has money available, like they do from time to time with those construction grants, that they can now also make that available to libraries to enhance security. That would take effect on January 1st, 2026. And so we are certainly watching that closely as well. Many libraries have expressed interest in what that might mean for their libraries that they'd like to look into. House Bill 1910, that is the piece that we just talked about, that's now the public act that we talked about with the memo, with the opioid antagonists. And again, that will take effect, on January 1st, 2026. More on that as we have more. And finally, the last one is one I actually just talked to Ann about this morning. This is one that was House Bill 1062. That was the Illinois Century Network Act that allows make sure that libraries are mentioned specifically along with schools as community anchor institutions. And then there's a little bit of information about the priority of what that means by mileage and geography. So that was just signed on August 15th. You might remember that Ann submitted that proposal along with Troy Brown from Heartland and Kate Hall from Northbrook to the Public Policy Committee last year. So we're very happy to see that also move forward. So those are 4 bills that we have been watching that have now moved their way into law. We also had the opportunity to have a lot of new graduates of the Directors University program. I hope you were all able to see all of those folks in your packet. That is a big time commitment on behalf of those folks who are going to learn so much about being new directors, but also there's so much work that goes into that, both from our Rails team and our partnering organizations to make that a really positive, special, and informative event. So I want to thank all of our team who put that together, and especially Kate Niehoff for all her work on that. You all probably saw, we talked about this a bit last month, so I won't talk at great detail, but Rails and our partners did receive a 2025 ILA Intellectual Freedom Award. There was a link to the full press release, but a lot of that came out of some really strong work that came out of our partnership organization. And Carolyn's here, and we'll be talking a little bit about some things with our friends at IL and school libraries later, but very, very happy to see that moving forward. I wanted to highlight for you, and this was in your top 3, the Rails member meetup that happened at Illinois College. Jessica Silva does these wonderful Rails member meetups all across our states, a great opportunity to get a lot of our members together in person. I would encourage you as board members to pay attention to when those member meetups are happening. Our members love to get to see you as Rails board members at these events as well. So if there's ever one in your area that you'd like to come to and connect with our members, I know we would love to help you do that. So just wanted to highlight for you that those happen regularly, and they're just a really great way to connect and hear from the membership about what they want to see from Rails. And I know Jennifer Hovnick wasn't able to join us today, but I did want to share, of course, that the LaGrange Public Library has joined Find More Illinois. We're really excited about that. And we now have 71 public libraries that participate in this resource sharing platform that continues to grow. So happy to open it up for questions if there's anything you have to add about anything that's in the report or anything that I shared with you today. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Monica. Next, we will hear from Dan Bostrom with the Service of the Month report.
Hi all. You should all have this document in your packet. And typically we come to you as a team to talk about the Rails communications team and kind of all of the communication channels that we use and to reach our members. Today's going to be a little bit different because You all had a great presentation from Ola and Jessica at the orientation. And so we're going to kind of skip a lot of this stuff and we're going to focus on one specific communication channel, really because it's very timely for us right now. And that's our conferences and exhibits. So I want to just, and actually talking about the member meetup is a great example. We really value that face-to-face with our members, and we don't always get it. Jessica's one person traveling around the state all the time. So these conferences are a great opportunity for other parts of Rails staff to talk to members and find out, what's going on in your library, what are you hearing? And the Rails communications team manages a presence at all the conferences, and I'm gonna I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget one. So the ISLE conference is a big one where we have a presence, and it's a great chance for us to see school libraries and make connections with school library folks. ILA, of course, ILA has another conference called Reaching Forward North and South. We typically have presences at those conferences. They also have a smaller conference for youth services folks called the Illinois Youth Services Institute, ICE, that happens every other year. The American Library Association has a pretty big conference happening next summer. We will have a presence. We will be there. We invite you all to come and participate. It's a lot of fun. And then a smaller one that we often participate in that is also every other year in person is called the Health Science Librarians of Illinois, HSLI. And that's a nice place for us to interact with sometimes specialized folks in the medical field. And then we've just started this as a partnership with ISLE and our sibling system, Illinois Heartland Library System, as well as IOA. It's called the Illinois Association of School Boards. There's a longer name, with more acronyms, and I'm not going to get into, but it's a really good chance for us, again, to kind of make connections in the school world, especially with administrators, board members at school districts, that sort of thing. So this is a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, but it's really important to us to kind of meet these people. So the rest of the team is going to tell you a little bit about what actually happens at these events. And we're going to start with Nicole Zimmerman, who's on Zoom right now. So Nicole is the marketing and public relations specialist. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I can't be there with you today. As Dan said, I'm marketing PR specialist here. Many people know me as Nikki. You can call me either. So months prior to conferences, I coordinate with the host organizations and with the venues. I plan and place booth orders for things like, the furniture we're going to have, tables, draping, electricity, that sort of thing. I set up online portals that include information about us as exhibitors and sponsors very often. And then I also register our booth workers for exhibit badges. Then as a team, we determine what we want to promote at any given exhibit, any given booth, and how we want the booth set up. So at that point, if I need to create any promotional materials that we want to distribute at the booth, I'll do that, as well as choosing and ordering the swag that we hand out as well. And then a couple weeks before a conference, I will organize the volunteers' work schedule, like for each day of the conference. Many of our conferences are multiple days, but many of them are just single days too. And with all of you captive here, I'll also let you know that for the ILA conference, we often have Rails board members work the booth with us for just like an hour. Whenever you're available, you don't have to. I'll have Stacy send something out before too long. So if you want to, we certainly welcome it. And then the day before the conference, I'll pack up anything that we're taking to the booth. And on the day of, I'll transport it. And then the whole team, usually the communication teams, sometimes other staff members will get together to set up the booth and also tear it down. And finally, we ask our booth volunteers to track our visitors. So we have those little clickers to track visitors to our booth. And then we share that information with the Rails board and then also with the state library. And that's all for me. So I'm going to pass it to Ola, who's going to talk about the type of engagement activities that we have at our booths. Thanks.
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Ola Gronsky, the digital marketing and communication specialist. It's a long title. So I'm going to talk about the fun things that we do at the booth. So every year we try to come up with a creative way to engage with our members at the conferences. And that usually means creating some type of activity so that people stick around our booth a little longer. You know, you have a captive audience and you can have more meaningful conversations. So last year we had a photo booth at the ILA conference. We built a big balloon arch. We brought our giant industrial ring light, and we even loaned the Alexi Janulia's cardboard cutout from the Illinois State Library. So the librarians were thrilled to take a picture with Alexi at our booth. So this year it was kind of hard to top that idea. So we're trying to tie it into ILA's conference theme this year, which is You Belong Here. So we wanted to focus more on our members as individuals. So this year we're going to have a big data string board. We're calling it We Connect Libraries, You Weave the Future. And so we're going to be asking people to stop by our booth and answer and mark their answers to their questions about themselves, like what type of reader they are, what kind of community do they serve, what department they belong to, things like that, so that at the end of the conference, we can kind of step away, kind of see, you know, how we look like on an individual level. So hopefully it'll be cool.
So how does that tie in with trustee day?
Well, there is a spot for trustees on there. Actually, it talks about how long have you served in the libraries, what kind of reader you are. We did tailor the questions so that it's tailored to both staff and trustees. So you will be represented on the board.
Raise the issue.
Of course, we did think about it, so we're not leaving you guys out. And then I do want to talk about at ISLE, the Can't Shelve This podcast, which is our school library podcast in collaboration with the Illinois Heartland Library System. We're doing a live episode at the ISLE conference. And so we're hoping people show up, and we want to build a school library utopia with them. So we're actually asking audience members to come up to the microphone and talk about what is one thing their library has that they wish all school libraries could have. So attainable dreams for a school library. So we're hoping people, you know, have those conversations at both conferences. We can talk with them and they can talk with each other. And I will hand it over to Jessica.
Howdy, everyone. I'm Jessica Silva. I am the member engagement specialist, and I'm going to share a little bit about the conference presentations that we've done in collaborations with other institutions and with some members as well. So as Dan said, it is a really good way to like be face-to-face with people, get a large group of people and tell them a lot of information and feed a lot of birds with one bird feeder. So I presented at IC with Leah Gregory, Carolyn, who's here from ISLE, and Jeanette Drecke, our data analyst. IC is the Illinois Youth Services Institute, and we presented about strengthening the library ecosystem. So cross-library type connections, formal and informal, having an IGA or not having an IGA, and different examples of that. And we also had some people who were in the crowd like share examples as well. So I think that was a really good way to model and tell people that if they want to do things like that, they can reach out to me and I can help facilitate it. And then at Reaching Forward North, along with some folks from Addison Public Library, Niles, Maine, and Old Town School of Folk Music, and Stacy Palmisano, we presented about networking groups and networking for career success, what it takes to be a networking group convener, ways that those people manage their groups and like what the workload is like, and then really encourage people to join them. And also I tell people like, if you don't see it, let me know and we can start another group. We have a lot of networking groups that are really active. So that was really good. At Reaching Forward South, I presented with Leah Gregory from Illinois Heartland about the database, the statewide e-resource program. And we really presented about like marketing and outreach and ways that libraries can share those with patrons, and also the ways that they can teach people how to use them as well. And then at this upcoming ILA in October, Liesl Cottrell, who's the director of the Concordia University Library, and I are going to be presenting about, I will be presenting about the My Library Is grant, which will be really, really great to be able to tell member libraries about that. And then she was a grant recipient as well. So she's going to talk about her project. And she was also a grant evaluator. So she's going to talk about evaluating that. And also just more ways that Rails can help facilitate those types of things, because her project used the listserv, delivery, a lot of our resources to complete her project, and supporting early childhood centers as well, which I think are also part of library ecosystem, but sometimes overlooked. So that's exciting. But yes, if anyone has any ideas for presentations or want to connect with other people about that, I would love to help with that. And you can let me know, do something. And I'm going to hand it over to Brian, who's going to talk more about poster session. Thank you.
Oh, I'm not Jessica.
Oh,
So-
sorry.
It's fine. I don't have a name. Hi, I'm Brian Smith. Excuse me. My job title at Rails is Applications and Web Developer, but I always just tell people I'm a librarian who builds websites. I'm also going to be a presenter at the ILA conference this fall. I will be part of a panel that's spearheaded by some colleagues at the Illinois State Library, and also includes representation from Illinois Heartland Library System, a panel presentation about digital accessibility, which is a very important topic. Unfortunately, ILA has scheduled that session at the same time on Trustee Day as the mock board meeting, which is generally one of the most fun and entertaining sessions at the whole conference. So I completely understand if you're at ILA, you go to that instead of to our session. Yeah, Jessica mentioned poster sessions, and myself, along with a couple of my colleagues here in the Rails Continuing Education Department, had a poster session at last year's ILA conference on digital accessibility, which we had a really good turnout and interest for. Rails staff will also this year have a poster session about the Library Directory and Learning Calendar, or L2 website, and how people can get the most out of it and why it's important to have an L2 account, what you can get out of it, and ask any questions about it. So we'll be having that year's poster session, but of course, as Nikki and Ola talked about, a big part of our presence at these conferences is the booths, and which is a fantastic opportunity for us to have conversations with people at our member libraries. I know one of my icebreaker question when I'm working at the booth is to ask people, so what are you excited about at your library? Because it's really fantastic to hear about that from people. And we encourage you as board members to also come by the booth and hang out there, talk with other of our members. I know that at past conferences, and I think even some of you have done this already. Spend an hour or so at the Rails booth in the conference, talking with people, and we hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's really great to have that direct communication with people who are on the Rails board, and great for the board members to hear directly from members what's going on at their libraries and what they want from Rails." So that concludes what I had to say. And if you have any questions about what communications does, one of us can answer it for you.
So why is it called L2?
Why is it called a?
Perfect question. It makes no sense.
That is history. It was originally developed many years ago, and it had more of an emphasis on the actual events calendar part of it. So it was originally called Library Learning. So there was two L's there.
Have you talked about rebranding it?
Well, we did. We did. 5 years ago, yes, it was 5 years ago. We actually did a complete redesign of it, new software platform. In recognition that the directory part of it is a really huge aspect. At the time, because so many people understood L2, we thought it would be detrimental to try to change it and do a 180 and, you know, turning the battleship at that time. So that is why it remains L2, although with a slightly different name.
Can I add on to that a little bit? We actually inherited L2 from a predecessor system. So it was originally designed by the North Suburban Library System, I believe, right? So when Rails was formed, it was already, right? So we inherited this thing.
It's not a very marketing name.
It would be great to
Yes.
call it the Rails membership directory and
But
event
it's
calendar,
statewide.
but it's statewide, right? And so, and you know, used by our sibling system, Illinois Heartland Library System, used by the Illinois State Library, used by the Illinois Library Association. So really, it has to capture that entire picture. I totally understand what you're
I
coming
give
from.
up. I give up.
And staff members from around Rails will come to me and be like, we just rebrand. You know? And I wish I could that out.
One day.
I think Dan's saying, don't blame us.
Okay.
Well, I would just like to say thank you for a wonderful summary of all the things you do. And I just want to acknowledge how important it is for the organization that you are and have a conference presence at. Having you there it just feels right. It feels like the partners that we need, and we appreciate sponsorship and everything. I also want to say I appreciate the wide reach of communications. You're always trying like a new way to grab somebody's interest, and I think it really shows in such a broad menu of services and methods. So very well done.
We have a wonderfully creative team.
Yes.
Yes.
It shows.
I'd just like to encourage everyone, when you have the opportunity to work at the Rails booth at the ILA conference, it's really great. It's a great chance to meet a lot of library staff and say, hey, how do you use Rails? Or say, hey, you know, Rails does this. Maybe it could be helpful for you. And it's just really good to see everyone and see how much they appreciate Rails.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for doing that. That's wonderful to hear about that. And now I'm looking forward to the ILA conference even more. Next, we will hear from the Illinois State Library.
Well, hi, everyone. I am Karen Egan, and I'm the Associate Director of Grants and Programs here at the State Library. My department is library development, and the staff I work with on the 4th floor we have the best job in the world because we get to work with all of you. That says it simply is we're working on statewide programs and initiatives. Couple of things going on is right now we are in the final push for public library districts to submit their IPLAR, the Illinois Public Library Annual Report. This is the last group of submissions who had a fiscal year ending June 30th, and those are due September 1st. And after that, we will be, analyzing the data and be able to provide Dan with all kinds of, and Grant with all kinds of good information that they will give back to you guys as well. But those IPLARs we're feeling the pain of the retirement of one of our staff members as we go through this. But we're confident that the libraries are submitted and doing very well. As you probably know, we have EBSCO databases going on. And Susanna sent me an email and said, I'm going to send you some statistics in just a minute. So I haven't gotten that yet. So I'm not sure where we are, but the use statistics have been growing exponentially, especially as schools are coming back into session and they are getting connected. And we've got confirmation that the EBSCO databases are compliant with the Student Online Privacy Protection Act, SOPA. which means that the schools are able to use them. That is a law that any electronic resources has to have that kind of compliance to say they will not sell the information of students in order to use those databases. So we're real excited about that, to be able to get that certification. One of the big things we've got going on in 2 weeks, we have a virtual site visit with the Institute of Museum and Library Services. This is required every 2 years, and in a sense, it's like an audit of how things are done. They look at what is the legal citation that says the state library has the authority to issue grants funded with the Federal Library Services and Technology Act money. What's our records retention policy for keeping the files that we get from libraries submitting reports? We take 2 projects and submit every bit of paperwork. And I believe we used L2 as no, not L2, but one of the LSTA projects, and I can't remember which one it was from Rails as one of those projects. But it's everything from the application, the contract, the award letter, all of the reports, the site visit, everything that they can look at, a whole package of that as well. So one of the things I'm really hoping with that is that we will get some more information about what their expectations are as IMLS moves forward. So for your September board meeting, we may know more directly from IMLS staff. That might be a good thing. 2 grant programs are very active right now. The public library construction grants are being accepted at this time for remodeling, accessibility. They are small. You can apply for a new building, but there are limited funds available. So a lot of small projects happen with this through mini grants and such. The school grants are coming in like crazy. Thank you to everyone who helped promote and get the word out about those. I peeked a minute ago, and since this meeting started, we had 12 new applications come in. So they're coming in fast and furious, which is very exciting. We have over 100 the last time I checked that are already in. And so thank you to Rails and to Carolyn at Isle for helping us get the word out about those as well. So at this point, do you have any questions for me or, oh, and Monica, thank you for bringing up all of the new laws that have been passed. I appreciate you taking that part of the report out of my hands. But do you have any questions for me that I can answer for you at this time? All right, well,
Thank you, Karen, so much.
You're welcome. Oh, I would say too, for new board members is we rotate who attends the board meeting. So you will see many faces in this role giving the state library report, because we feel it's really important for the other consultants to experience the board members and get to see your board and meet you as well. So thank you for letting me join you today.
Thank you, Karen, and we appreciate getting to meet different people from the state library also. So we will move on to new business, and Jessica Silva will introduce a new Rails member.
Me again. Hello. We have one membership request today from Learn Charter 10, Learn Charter, the John and Kathy Schreiber campus. So this is part of a charter network. Some of them are part of public school districts, but this one is not. And it is in Waukegan in Lake County. They have about 570 students, and Greg Baker is the STEAM teacher / librarian. I had a chance to meet with him, and he told me he also runs a library advisory council. So I thought that was really cool. He has elementary school students doing that. Well, it's K-8, so they serve all grade levels. And they're really interested in Inky.org and the statewide database package, as well as applying for the school library grant and other resources that we have available, deals and discounts as well. They would make a really great Rails member. What questions do y'all have for me? Any questions? Yes, go ahead.
Are there ever, nominees that like, fine. You've already done like the background and you're bringing it to us because you've already, you've vetted.
It's a pretty vetted process, yeah. I have to visit them and, find out. I do some detective work. I do some Facebook sleuthing. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm looking, like, seeing what their library program is like and things like that. And a lot of cases visiting them in person, but they were pretty close, I assumed.
I guess my point being that you would say, I don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been here 7 years and I've never seen the board.
Yeah, and they have to meet the administrative code, which I can share as well, in order to even be like.
I take it, going by the name Shriver, is this connected with the Special Olympics people?
I'd have to look. I didn't even Google. Are they?
Like Tim Shriver?
No,
Oh.
that's Shriver. This is Shriver.
Oh, like Maria Shriver, like the ketchup?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Arnold's ex. Okay.
His wife's mother.
Oh, okay.
Started Special Olympics.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
So one of JFK's siblings.
Yes.
So charter schools are public schools, because I started at charter school.
Yes.
Are parochial schools and private schools eligible to be members of Rails?
As long as they meet the membership requirements, like the big one is like 15 hours a week, at least the library is open. We have a lot of, I onboarded one in January, St. Anne's Parish, but we have a lot of parochial members.
I just didn't know.
Yes, if anybody know anyone at a school that's not a member and they have an active running library for it.
Curious, because it says they are a 90% Spanish speaking. Yes. Do we have enough materials that are going to support them?
There's actually a lot in e-read, and then the world language cataloging. When I mentioned that to him, he was really excited about that. So I think a lot of people are taking advantage of that. And then we also have a lot of like the Lotte for Kids, Tumble Books. Like a lot of our vendors have a lot of like emergent bilingual education and things like that that he can take advantage of. Yeah. Anything else?
All right, may I have a motion and a second to approve Learn John and Kathy Shriver campus as a new member of Rails and submit the request to the Illinois State Library for final approval?
I move that we approve Learn John and Kathy Shriver campus as a new Rails member.
Second part.
All right, so moved by Monica and seconded by Yolande. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
I feel like I should vote no, just so.
Seven.
Oh, boy, Rob.
All right, the motion carries. Thank you, Jessica. And Joe Philippek will now give a report on OMA and FOIA.
Yes, thank you, Gwen. Good afternoon, all. So in your board packet, you'll find a memo with information on related to FOIA and OMA. So every year we just try to provide the board with some general information on, first of all, FOIA requests that Rails has received. So you'll see in that memo that we receive a quarterly commercial FOIA request from Smart Procure. And if you probably know about Smart Procure. They basically aggregate data, primarily purchasing data, to then go into a database that is then used for procurement research. And then you'll find just a couple other FOIA requests we've received in the last year, just generally related to RFP and delivery information. The other part of what we like to provide the board is just some general information on the membership service side on our FOIA OMA hotline, which, again, I'm guessing most of you are aware, but Rails provides this as a statewide service to public libraries across all of Illinois. And it's a hotline service that allows general questions related both to the Open Meetings Act and to FOIA. This allows libraries to receive guidance from an attorney, specifically Julie Tappendorf with Ansel Glink. And this is a service provided at no cost. Its use, I would say, has been incredibly consistent since we launched this nearly 10 years ago. I believe it was 2016. And it has averaged pretty regularly around being utilized 2 to 3 times a week. So also in that memo is just a very generic sort of general breakdown of where those questions kind of land in terms of the hotline use. So that is the information both on the FOIA requests received by Rails and the use of this hotline. Any questions or comments?
So you mentioned, so does, who
Ansel-
actually, Ansel Green?
Yeah, so the attorney that we work with at Rails, Julie Tappendorf, she's the primary contact for any kind of hotline questions, which can come in through phone or email. And when she's out of the office, then it's assigned to another attorney. And I would say generally within 48 hours, but it's often the same day that they get back with an answer to those questions. And again, it is general questions. They are not redacting documents. That's all going to be referred to the library's own counsel, but just those kind of general questions. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Next on the agenda is a review of the Rails investment portfolio with Sharon Swanson. Welcome back, Sharon.
Thank you, Gwen. And hello, everyone again. So the Rails fiscal accountability policy requires that the Rails board review 2 times per year. This would be August, and then again in February, the fiscal accountability the investment portfolio. So this is to review it for safety, liquidity, rate of return, diversification, and just general performance overall. So I just wanted to refer to that list of investments that was included in my financial report for your reference. And just going down the list, Rails has the bulk of our funds in Wintrust, our Wintrust money market account and our Wintrust checking account. We also have 2 money market accounts, one with PMA and one with Illinois Funds. And Rails has a series of 17 CDs with PMA, as well as a small number of treasury notes that were willed to us by a former library system member. Since July, Rails has had 4 of our 17 CDs mature early in August. Rails has reinvested the funds to take advantage of the high that we're at for interest rates. We've reinvested those funds into 4 2-year CDs. They're set to earn an average interest rate of 3.745%. Now we are holding on reinvesting the additional 5 CDs that have matured between early August and today's date, just until we have a better idea of what we're going to recommend to the board to from our general fund to our capital projects fund. And we should have that recommendation to you within the next couple of months or so. That recommendation, we expect that to be a little over $1 million or somewhere over $1 million that we're recommending. So I did want to mention the checking account is kept at a minimal balance to maximize the interest that we're earning in our money market account. That's currently earning 4.59%. And these accounts are secured with a combination of both FDIC insurance coverage as well as mortgage-backed collateral that is held by a third party in Rails's name. The remainder of the liquid portion of Rails's funds are held in those money market accounts with both Illinois Funds and PMA. They're both local government investment pools. Illinois Funds is collateralized by repurchase agreements at 102%, which is in compliance with the Illinois Public Funds Investment Act. The PMA account is collateralized by spreading the balances between the IntraFi Network Deposits Program, the banks within that network, to stay below the FDIC insurance limits. The Illinois Funds is currently earning 4.454%, and the PMA account is currently earning 4.18%. So the CDs are kept below the $250,000 FDIC insurance limit, and they're held at different banks within that IntraFi network. So they're collateralized in that same way. Rails's investments have a total face value of $4,092,948. And the current market value of these CDs is 15.6% of Rails's total cash and investment balance. And that's the market value as of July 31st. I wanted to open it up for any questions or any feedback you had about our investment portfolio.
So it sounds like from what you were saying that you are staggering the CDs so that they mature at different times throughout the year so that we can become available when you need to pay for things, right?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Once funds are moved into the next month, that's not the name of it, like.
Yes, the basically the capital projects fund, yes.
Is there a reason why that money would need to be kept liquid and couldn't also, some of it couldn't also be kept as a CD?
It could be invested. So what we're thinking just initially is looking at the next 3 years of need and recommending an amount to meet that next 3 years of need for capital projects. So there's no reason why I couldn't, but I think that we need to know the amount first, a little bit more definitively before we move forward with reinvesting any part of that 1.25 million that's matured in August.
Which is another reason for that capital assessment project, piece that we're doing so we can have a real sense of the projects that we know that we're planning for. And then also a little bit in case there are other emergencies or things that come out of our control. I know you probably saw in the Rails report this month that we are looking at some of these precast walls because there were leaks that happened during the year. That's not something that we're necessarily identifying to do right away, at least at the level that it would cost to fix them. So there's always things like that that we have to consider as well.
Getting back on that regular replacement of our fleet vehicles, that's scheduled too. Because we had to put that on hold for so many years, and then we were in the position of having to replace well over half of our delivery fleet within basically a 2-year time period.
All right, well, thank you, Sharon. Next, we have our special guest, Carolyn Kinsella, the ISLE Executive Secretary, who will give us an overview of school libraries. And welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you. I am very happy to be here. Maybe I can get this to work. Of course, there we go. Okay. I really have nothing to show. It's not like I'm going to give you a PowerPoint because that's kind of annoying. I just want to tell you, first of all, that who I am. I am Carolyn Kinsella, and I am the Executive Secretary for ISLE. I can't see everybody. I'm trying to go down. There we go.
Spell out what
I am. ISLE is our school library, and she is also on our board, on the ISLE board. ISLE is the Association of Illinois School Library Educators, so school librarians. It was formerly ISLAMA, Illinois School Library Media Association. So maybe those of you who've been here a little longer, like me, know it as ISLE and ISLAMA, but it is now ISLE, and it is the school librarians, and that's who we are. Our mission, our goal, our purpose is to support school libraries and school librarians, but mostly the students who are there. You know, we're all about the kiddos, and that's our thing. It's to support those students in their schools with the school library and librarians. And
Can I pause you for, I'm so sorry, Carolyn, if you can just back up a little bit so the camera can see you. It's just no problem at all. We just want to make sure our folks who are attending remotely can see you. I apologize. Oh, just a little closer to Jennifer there and you're good. Or you can come up to the front of the table if you prefer. It's up to you.
Perfect. I have no qualms with that. I just didn't want.
Thank you. No, of course. I'm so sorry to pause you.
No. You know me. That's fine.
Video thing was looking for you desperately.
Right here. It's telling me right here. All right. Now I'm in the proper spot.
Thank you, Carolyn.
No problem. Anyhow, I just wanted to, that's who ISLE is, and that's really our mission. That's our focus. That's why we organized in the 80s and decided that we needed a state organization for school librarians. We're it. Yeah. We're it. That's it for school librarians. I am a retired school librarian. I taught many, many years at Minooka Community High School, and prior to that, I was 10 years up in Wisconsin in an elementary. So I have had both elementary and high school experience. And of course, you know, when you retire, the public library comes calling, and I am now a trustee at the Seneca Public Library, which I am loving. It's really been a real treat to be involved in that other side and the partnerships that we've always had, but we need to continue. So anyhow, so that's who I am. And ISLE is we're a nonprofit. We have very limited employees. I figured it out. It's like 1.5 full-time because I'm supposed to be part-time. And then we have the financial executive, financial and registrar. That has been Caroline Campbell for a long time. And you maybe know that name, those of you who've been around. Caroline is retiring. And the new registrar, financial secretary, is going to be Patty Fleeser. She will officially take completely over in January. Right. We also have 2 quarter-time people, and they are the newsletter and the virtual communication. So keeping our Google files in order. And so they're only a quarter, and Patty and I are supposed to be half. So we don't have a lot of staff, but we work pretty hard at what we're doing. We rely on our partners very, very much. And I hope our partners rely on us. So I want to thank you here at Rails, first and foremost, for partnering with ISLE and giving us the support on many, many things that we need. You heard about the conference, and you guys being an exhibitor and sponsorships for us and volunteering to present. Those are things that really give a robust nature to our conference, and we appreciate that very, very much. You also host the listserv for us, and that is a huge communication tool for us. When it doesn't work right, they call me and then I call you. But, you know, that changeover was what we had, what was that, a year or 2 ago?
Yeah.
A couple years ago, was really seamless for us. And it's because you guys all gave me the right information to give to our members as well. The big thing that has happened in the last few years is your support for data collection. ISLE advocacy always hit a roadblock because people, we would say, we need this or that or the other thing. And we didn't have the data to do it. And we didn't have the staff, nor we didn't have the knowledge to do that. We tried it each and every time, and we just, because everybody else who's in ISLE, all the rest of our board, our president, all of our function reps, our committee members, they're all volunteers, and they are all working school librarians. So they do this nights and weekends. So anyhow, so when Rails said, we'll start with some data collection, we'll get a grant, and then you've hired Jeanette full time, and Jeanette is our dream come true. Because she makes it so we all understand statistics. So you guys are shaking your head going, yeah, she does. And she presents at conferences. She coordinates with Heartland as well, with your sister system. And so that we are getting amazingly robust and concrete and verifiable statistics about the state of school libraries. And that is critical for ISLE and Rails and Heartland and ILA to move forward on our main advocacy, which is advocating for school librarians in every school. I don't know if you're aware, but right now that is not legislated in the state of Illinois. And the funding for the state of Illinois to schools through the Illinois State Board of Education, ISBE, is an interest-based funding model. And so they have these line items, and you kind of this, I'm not exactly sure how they come up with what percentage you are at for this year, but they do. And that's how ISBE directs funds to the schools generally. There is a line item in every school district in this state in that interest-based funding that says school libraries, school librarian. But because there is not ISBE does not require that they notify ISBE how those funds are given. There's no reporting system. Schools believe that those are discretionary funds, no matter what the line item says. So they can take those discretionary funds and use them as they see fit. Some schools use them to hire a third grade teacher when they have too many in third grade, and some put them into a football field, but we don't know because they do not go to the library. And as the years have rolled by, you know, I go back to the collapse of the 80s, and then again here, you know, 2000, and then we had COVID. The school librarians, because there was not a reporting on how those funds are used, there is no legislative requirement. There are fewer and fewer and fewer school librarians every single year. I'm sure the new school that you just brought into Rails does not have a licensed librarian. Am I right, Jessica?
Would be Fulton and MLIS.
Oh, really?
But there is a person in the library?
Yeah, the requirement is that there's 15 hours.
Well, yeah, but 15 hours is not a full time. No. You know, 15 hours in a week.
That's great.
Yeah. I knew that requirement. Yeah.
Oh.
That's not, I.
That's okay. It was just a question that,
Yeah, it says and.
right,
So.
yeah.
He's a library manager probably, as opposed to a librarian.
Exactly. And that is the thing. It's like, you know, for us, it's a dismission, and it's a dismiss the idea that anybody can be a school librarian. And I look at them and I go, would you hire anybody to teach physics or algebra 2 even? No. Well, why do you think that the skill set of the school librarian is less important in this age of information literacy and media, and making sure that our students understand how to access, evaluate, and use information? AI, you know, so all of these things, but because they can, and because they're a nice knit group, superintendents and principals like we are, they don't believe that it's important. And I have found that if a superintendent or a principal did not have a strong library growing up, they don't see a need. And that there's, to me, a direct correlation there. As just, that's anecdotal. But anyhow, so our big advocacy is that we are trying to work with the legislation on establishing legislation that will require school librarians. As we started this project a long time ago, we've been talking about it for a long time. This last year, we realized that at the ISBE conference was the kind of a smack in the face. We'd call over a school board member and go, do you have a school library? Well, of course we do. Do you have a licensed librarian? Of course we do. Is she or he paid as a teacher, or are they on that pay scale? Oh, no, they're paid as an aide. Then you don't have a licensed librarian. You don't have that trained professional. And Joe's shaking his head, because didn't we have that conversation over and over and over? And so then we use the Slate project to actually look it up and prove or not prove, oh, yes, they are. They're licensed. I know they are. No, they're not. And so this is the kind of information that we have started to use. And we're finding that people don't understand. Legislators don't understand this. School board members don't understand this. Other people, sometimes within the field, even public or special librarians, don't understand this. So we asked for a task force with all these different entities together, legislative task force, and ISBE has said that they will take that over, and we're trying to work with ISBE to have this information get out so that we can go to the legislators and say, this is why we need school libraries. It's a challenge. We get a couple of steps forward and then we come back 2 or 3, and it's hard, but we are not giving up. So that is our main legislative work. That's what we're working on, for advocating for our school librarians, so that we know, and every study knows, that students who have that licensed librarian in their school do better on tests and in the long run. Yes, Rob?
So is your membership only open, is the district a member or is the school a member?
We have both, because we have some districts that have, our membership is person specific. it's not by district, it is by person. That means that if I would join for 2 years, then this year I would move to a different district, my membership stays with me. Now, sometimes the district pays, and sometimes, most of the time, they do not. So the person is paying by themselves. And so those are person-specific memberships. Jessica.
Sorry.
Yes. That makes me, that's a very, thank you. But that immediately ran through my mind as you guys were approving them, which was great. Bring a new school in that meets the criteria, but that's even better. Thanks. But now we need to find that information and we'll talk to him about ISLE. So if you want to know more, I left my card. I have many of them. You want information about our conference? I have conference cards. I was going to show you our website, but you can all go. You're all quite capable. The other thing that I do want to highlight is the Reader's Choice Awards, because that's an ISLE thing. That is our big baby. We love our Reader's Choice Awards and sponsoring those and making sure that they are the students decide. We give them a list. We kind of do a little directing, but those kiddos get to vote, and that is a big deal. And if you have been a part of the Caudle Award in the past, Caudle predates the Monarch, Blue Stem, and Lincoln. And so the Caudle was a separate committee up until this year. By next year, Caudle will be completely under with ISLE. You can register.
I don't know what Caudle or the other thing.
Okay, well, let me tell you. The Reader's Choice Awards are a list of materials depending on the age limit. Monarch is primary, Blue Stem is intermediate, Caudle is that upper intermediate junior high, and then the Lincoln is your high school awards. A committee will read tons. They're lists are given to them. They meet separately. They come up with a list of 20 books. We require that you have, I think, 15 of those books, if not all 20, to provide to your students or with the public libraries to provide for your patrons. Then in the end of it, it's in March, the students get to vote. Now, teachers and public librarians, youth services, they promote them, they do them all different, battle of the books. ISLE also provides resources. The committees establish resources, including curriculum guides, bookmarks, labels, all sorts of things for each one to promote. So we have resources that then go out for each of the lists.
Thank you.
No problem. But yes, so we're very proud of our Illinois Reading Awards, our Reader's Choice Awards is what we call them. And we're excited to bring Caudle into the fold. It's working really well. We're having committee meetings between the two. So if you want to know more about those types of things, you can read our advocacy, our board members. Like I said, Monica's on the board, great resource, great help for us. Go to our website, aisled.org, and every place on there, all the information comes to me. I am the point of contact for ISLE. My phone number, which I apologize, last week was dead. I got hit with lightning right outside the door. I'm still using the library hotspot because the new equipment is in the mail. So, but I do have my phone worked out as well, the ISLE phone. So, Monica, what I missed?
I know, I was just gonna say, Carolyn, you're a wonderful voice for our organization. And I thank you so much for sharing in such a succinct way who we are and what our major goals are. I mean, so many of the things you mentioned are such near and dear to my heart, right? As Carolyn mentioned, I also serve as a board member of the Association of Illinois School Librarians. And I'm on the Lincoln Award Steering Committee, and there's just so many overlaps. And I'm also thrilled to serve here on the Rails board as the representative for all school libraries. There's one seat on this board for school libraries, and it's a big seat to fill, but I think in partnership and in the partnership, we have just been so thrilled that we feel like Rails is like our big sister who's like helping us and kind of amplifying our voice and amplifying the things that are really important to school libraries. School libraries are, what, is this true? More than half of the members of Rails are school libraries. And it's sad that some of them don't have the full complement of resources and staff that they could and should, that their students deserve. And so we so appreciate working together with ILA and Rails and Illinois Heartland and everybody who's kind of just pushing us forward and hoping that school libraries get to a more secure place.
We have been so fortunate to build our relationship with IL
Amazing.
and the officers as well who serve on partnership and that we've gotten to know over the years. But Carolyn in particular is a really strong advocate and has really helped us to understand in many different ways what school libraries are going through. I know even in our deals and discounts program, we have occasionally really needed to talk with you to understand the specifics of what schools are going through when we're trying to come up with fee structures or, there's all different ways that we have been able to work together that I think really amplify the work of all of us. And it's all towards making sure that school libraries have their needs met.
And as I say, we have the same patrons. The same kids that go to the school come to the public library. The same parents that send their kiddos come to the public libraries. Or they move on to the academic or to the special libraries. I mean, those are the people. And we do not receive any federal or state grants or funding. Our only funding is from our membership fees, our Reader's Choice fees, our professional development fees, and our big one is the conference. So we do a conference kind of on a shoestring, but we think, I am so excited this year with the people coming. We got Lori Halls Anderson.
Amazing.
We have some amazing speakers this year. Questions? I know we've been here an hour and a half. We're all tired of sitting.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are your board members only school librarians?
How many public librarians are right now? We do not right now.
No. Some of the function representatives might be school librarians or might be public librarians. And I know certainly on the Reader's Choice Awards, there is a robust participation from our youth services, colleagues. But yeah, I believe the board are, the purpose of the board is to have a steering committee of school librarians.
Right, the voting board is
Yeah.
school librarians, but our function reps, which are committee chairs, those are often, especially in the Reader's Choice, are public librarians. We have public librarians. You got it.
Do you guys find that having the teaching certificate, that it's a lot of certified librarians applying for school librarian jobs?
You mean moving from the public library world to the school world?
Yes.
Yes.
Or not just moving, but like any new librarian who might want to work in a school, then realizes, oh, I didn't get my teaching certificate. I can't work in a school.
And yes, we have had great discussions about that. That is an ISBE kind of thing. That's why lots of times when that happens, that person that is hired as an aide.
As an aide, yes.
And that's how the schools get around it. They get a trained person, but they're not paying them as a trained person. We are partnering, we are working with Illinois State, U of I and Dominican and Chicago State all have MLS programs, and we're working with them to, if someone already has that degree, to make it easier to get that.
Because it's not easy.
No, it is not,
It's
because you
not
have to
easy,
just
because
take teaching.
Thought about doing it myself. Because I feel like a school library should have a librarian.
Yes.
Not a teacher. I understand, like, you could get like some kind of, not a certification, but
endorsement.
like.
It's an endorsement,
Yeah.
right? Well, I taught for years with an endorsement because I had, I went to the U of I far long enough ago that they actually gave a minor in library science. I went through the grad classes, but it was still a minor. So I had those 18 credits. And so I was able to, for years, work as a school librarian and be a licensed librarian, but I was also a certified English teacher.
And so I had that.
They don't allow that anymore.
Well, you still have that 18 credit. That's still, that endorsement is still there. You do not have to have an MLS to be a school librarian, but you have to have your teaching certificate, and that's ISBE rules. And that means student teaching. And
So-
that's
so
the
a-
game
like a
changer.
classroom teacher can take 18 hours.
Yes.
And be a licensed school librarian. But if you have a master's in library science, right, you have to, there's a little bit more because you have to go through the teaching. as you found.
It's so complicated because I'll tell you, I have a master's degree in education. I have an MLS. And I cannot be a school librarian.
Unless you go and do your student
Unless I do
teaching.
more.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Unless I do.
And that has not, that's ISBE. We have to work with ISBE to try to figure out, and ISBE and the universities. Because this comes from the universities as well, because they have their curriculum. We can't be dictating curriculum to the universities any more than I can tell what the school should teach, even though I have thoughts, you know? So we have to work with ISBE and we have to work with the universities on how to do this. And we are trying to work the other way and make it easier. If you have a teaching certificate and you want to become a school librarian, how can we get you those 18 credits quickly and efficiently? But without that teaching certificate, it is hard. And we're not denying that.
But you also, so I have a teaching certificate, but it's not, I don't have the endorsement.
But you should be able to, if you have a teaching certificate with student teaching, oh, well, then that's
And-
not.
And ML, yeah.
You're in like Flynn.
It sounds like it's just paperwork.
It's
Well,
paperwork.
do you know why I don't work in a school library? Because I could not get hired. Not going back for more.
You should be
I'm
able
not
to.
joking, I have 2 master's degrees.
Talk to me. I will put you in touch with the school librarian, like at the U of I.
I
And
don't mean to-
no.
Yeah.
Oh, but
I
that,
do find that,
it's the ones that are usually the issue are people who have not had student teaching, who don't have that education degree. And going back, because to do student teaching, you have to get off your job. And that is the issue. Who can take off a semester from their job and still support their family? Hello, not me. So that's the issue. But if you already have a teaching certificate, it's in like Flynn, should be. But we'll talk about who to contact at U of I and we'll get that. Other questions? If you come up with any questions or you think about it later, I think I gave you my card, or if you just go to the ISLE website, every contact is execsecretary@aisled.org. That's me.
And I think just for my fellow board members, it might be just enlightening to look at the schools in the area where you live and find out, what are your, your neighborhood schools, like what's their situation?
Where do you?
How are they staffed in the library? Do they have, I mean, I come from what I think is a very awesome, well-situated north suburban area. And I had the two middle schools that fed into my high school for 25 years. Neither one of them had any school library staff whatsoever. They had no one to check out books, no one to teach, nothing for 25 years. So then I have freshmen showing up at my high school.
Yep.
Who hadn't had a librarian since they were, in fourth grade. And you think to yourself, like, how can that be? Like, you think I must be missing something here. And so I just encourage you to look around your neighborhood and see, because maybe if you know the situation of school librarians in your neighborhood, maybe then you can be the one to say to your, to your people that you know in library world or your neighbors or something, hey, did you know this? That doesn't seem right. I don't know if you realize, maybe we could talk about that.
We need all the advocates we
Yeah.
can, and I'm thinking that this room is full of library people. I was telling somebody I was coming today and I said, oh, this will be easy. I'm passionate about what I do and I'm talking to friends. You are my friend.
Well, and I serve on the advocacy committee of Rails, and we're so thrilled to have crossover. So we have a member of the Rails advocacy committee who is a member of the ISLE advocacy committee, and so we're doing good work together, and I think that's making us stronger.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and they share a report at every
Yes.
advocacy committee meeting. There's an aisle advocacy report to make sure that there's that
that
crossover.
there's that.
Yeah.
So go into the Slate project and look for the schools in that feed into your public library. You probably already know. But which ones actually have a licensed person in there, which ones don't. I don't know how much of a partnership. That's the other thing, is developing that public partnership between your public library and the schools. And it makes it a whole lot harder with the school if they don't have someone in that room.
Sometimes they'll have a paraprofessional, which isn't a librarian at all. Or a
Right.
teacher.
Right, and it isn't, and making them that relationship.
Volunteer.
I know, I know. Yeah,
It is.
that's exactly what it is.
Stamp the checkout.
Yeah.
No, right, right.
To school, especially,
Right,
like, private schools.
right, but they can't, right, but that person then doesn't teach or collaborate or do media literacy or work on projects with the other teachers or establish a reader's choice program throughout the district. No,
But Rails is helping with that. because
Yes.
you have your 1 day paraprofessional, just in case you don't know what you're doing.
our symposium.
That's how we market it, actually.
Well, and the thing with
this
this,
help, because I had a person I knew who was a paraprofessional at the school, and I said, you should try this, because she didn't know. She was just hired. Because what do I do? I said, well, make sure the books are in alphabetical order, you know, like.
the thing with the
And-
symposium that we're trying to work with too is we talk about, hey, if this is really up your alley,
Then you should go and get
then
this.
let's see how we can get you trained. Let's see how we can get you ready to do this job. Just in a 1 day, you don't know what you don't know.
And just for anybody who doesn't know about the symposium, Jessica, would you just say a little bit about that?
Also, I just want to say, it's kind of like a best, better type of situation. Like, someone in a library is good, but the best situation, and obviously,
Right.
Farmer School Library, 13. So the Illinois School Workers Symposium is gonna happen on September 17th. It's all day, free virtual training. We actually received a grant from IDA to put this on. And it's gonna be different tracks. So there's like city, mountain, beach, and that is like experience level, but I really want to say that for people. So there's gonna be opportunities for school library staff at all levels to learn about collection development, budget management, classroom management. Pernille Rip, who is Denmark, a Danish like literacy expert, is presenting, and also Len Bryan, who is a former Houston ISD person, wrote a blog for Knowledge Quest, which is AASL's blog, is also going to be presenting, and then a lot of people in this room. I'm leading table talk discussions as well. We almost hit 200 registrants today, so it's pretty exciting, and really excited to be able to offer free training, because a lot of times there is not, even for certified school librarians, it's like, oh, you all have fun with the English teacher. Yeah, which is great, love the English teachers. It'll be a good opportunity for them to learn from each other and learn from experts as well. September 17th. It's online, it's virtual, it's all, yes, gonna be on a learning platform called Remo, which is really cool. It's kind of like The Sims, but for professional development.
Thanks so much, Jessica.
Yeah, thanks to the committee and everybody for all their.
If you have more questions, please direct them to us. We'll do the best we can to answer and support your school libraries and librarians. That's our ask.
Well, thank you so much, Carolyn, for joining us today. Appreciate it very much.
It's fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed being here this afternoon. It's great.
So now board members can share news from their library or area. And so I will share, this is exciting. I know that Rails is going to publicize this more later, but I'll share with you that this week, Northern Illinois University Libraries went live on Find More Illinois. That, looking at the statistics, that added about 820,000 unique items to Find More Illinois. including many, many thousands of items in like Indonesian and Thai and some of the special collections things that we have. So we're very excited to see how much people are borrowing those.
Thank you so much for joining Find More. That's a wonderful, wonderful addition to our statewide resource sharing. As a member of Find More, I can't wait for my kids to have connections of things that you might have.
Great, and so we're gonna start as a lender only. We'll see, but I'm hoping that we will, in the future, also become a borrower.
And I'll just add to that, how thanks for joining, and not only that, but just for being such a strong advocate for the programs. And our informal mentor for the program. We consult with Gwen quite a bit. She really has been helpful throughout this process from the inception, and was also in the very, very first academic library that participated as lender. So much appreciation to you, and thank you for all that you do, and we're very excited about it.
Well, I feel like it's very important to have this multi-type library collaboration and borrowing and not. In Illinois, there is many academic libraries that borrow from each other, but then there's also a whole other world of stuff out there that we don't have. And then we have a whole bunch of stuff that other people want. So I think Find More provides a way for us to interact with each other more easily than other more formal interlibrary loan channels. So glad we can participate. So who else has some news?
But you all have heard a lot from me, but I'll just say two weeks into the school year, going strong. I've been teaching about 20 to 25 classes every week, and you know, loving it, but tired too. I have 3 new library aides this year, so it's very energizing to have new people who are curious and proud of what they're learning, and I'm learning a whole lot along with them.
All right. So our next meeting will be on Friday, September 26th at 1 p.m. And the agenda will include a delivery update from Mark Hatch and a review of the Rails resource sharing map with Grant Halter. Also on the agenda will be the annual audit report and the Rails annual report. Sounds like a lot. So thank you all for your attendance, and I will adjourn this meeting at 2:41 p.m. And everyone have a great weekend.